My boyfriend of 14 months demanded I get laser hair removal on my forearms, legs, and private area, and he made it clear that if I didn't, he'd leave me. I never thought a simple relationship would be turned upside down by body hair, but that's exactly what happened. What started as a minor disagreement about personal preferences quickly escalated into an ultimatum that made me question everything about him and our relationship. Now I'm moving out and cutting all ties, but I have to wonder, was I overreacting, or did he cross a line? I don't know why I didn't see it coming. Liam and I were lying on the couch one evening, just watching a movie, when out of nowhere, he looked at me, paused the movie, and said, "You know, I really think you should get rid of all that body hair." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. "What do you mean, like shaving my legs or something?" I asked, already reaching for the remote. "No," he said, his voice unusually serious. "Laser it, forearms, legs and your private area." I blinked, thinking I'd misheard him. "Wait, are you serious? Like, laser removal?" He nodded, not a hint of humor on his face. I felt my stomach churn. This wasn't a joke, he was dead serious. "Why?" I asked, trying to process what he was saying. "I've always had a little hair on my forearms and legs." "You've never said anything about it before." "Yeah, well, I've been thinking about it," he said, shifting uncomfortably. "It's just, when I touch you, it kind of grosses me out, and I can't stop thinking about it." I sat up, speechless. "You're kidding, right?" "No, Sophie," he said, leaning closer to me. "I don't want to touch it, I don't like it." I tried to keep calm, but the hurt was creeping in. "But it's never been an issue before." "Why now?" His eyes darkened slightly, a mix of frustration and something else, maybe desperation. "Because it's gross to me. It's not even about you anymore. It's about me. I've tried to ignore it, but I can't." The words hit me harder than I expected. I thought I knew this man. We'd been together for over a year, and this was the first I was hearing about it. I wasn't even that hairy, and I groomed myself as needed. Hell, my forearm hair was so light that it barely even showed. I shook my head. "Liam, I don't get it. I've never had a problem with my body. Why should I have to change something about me just to make you happy? I'm not asking you to change who you are, Sophie. Just do this one thing for me. It'll make me feel better." He leaned in, his eyes searching mine. "I love you. This is just something that bothers me. Please, can't you just do it for me?" I felt my jaw tighten. "You want me to get laser hair removal to make you feel better? I can't believe you're asking me to do this." He didn't seem fazed, just more insistent. "I'm not asking for much, it's just hair. You're a beautiful woman, but this one thing, if you love me, you'll do it. It's not even about the pain, it's about showing me that you care." I stared at him for a long moment, the words echoing in my head. "You're serious?" I said softly, finally realizing this wasn't some weird phase. He was dead serious about this. I was either going to have to comply, or he'd walk. After our first conversation, I spent a few days thinking it over. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but at the same time, the whole situation was messing with my head. Liam wasn't letting it go. Every time we texted or talked, he'd bring it up again, like I hadn't already heard enough. One afternoon, he sent me a link to a laser hair removal clinic. I texted back, I said I'm not doing it. Then he called. "I'm not asking for too much, Sophie, I really can't stand it anymore. You could just bleach it, right?" I sighed, rubbing my temples. "Fine, I'll bleach my forearm hair. But that's it, I'm not doing anything else." "Just bleaching? That's not even close to enough," he responded, sounding frustrated. "I'll still know it's there. It'll still disgust me." My patience was running thin. "It's barely noticeable, Liam. I don't even have that much hair. It's not a big deal, I just don't want to do the laser thing. But I do care about it. And if you care about me, you'll want to make me happy, right?" I felt a knot form in my stomach. I was already compromising by agreeing to bleach it, but this felt like it wasn't enough for him. "I'm trying, but you're being too much about this. I don't want to change myself for you." He got quiet for a moment, then said, "I don't understand why this is such a big issue. We're talking about hair, Sophie, you're letting your pride get in the way of us." "I'm not letting my pride get in the way," I snapped, feeling the frustration rise. "I just don't think this is something that should even be a problem. I shouldn't have to change my body for you." "You don't see it, do you?" Liam said, his voice lowering. "You will see it as a problem if we're going to have a future together. You can't tell me you'll be okay with it, knowing how much it bothers me. This is just the first test. What else won't you compromise on?" That hit me hard. "So, this is a test? To see if I'll sacrifice something for you?" I asked, feeling the tension between us thickening. His tone softened, almost pleading. "I just want us to be happy. This will make me happy, and it's not even a big thing for you. Just get the laser treatment and we can move on." I was done arguing. "I'll bleach my forearms, but I'm not getting laser for the other parts of my body. You need to understand that." There was a long pause, and I could hear him breathing heavily. "Okay, well, I guess it's better than nothing." But the tension lingered. I agreed to a half compromise, but I knew deep down that this wasn't over. He wasn't satisfied, and it felt like he was just setting the stage for more demands later on. It was a few days after I agreed to bleach my forearms, and I thought maybe Liam would drop it. But, of course, he didn't. Every conversation we had seemed to circle back to the same issue. He'd send me more links to laser hair removal clinics, casually reminding me of what I needed to do. One night, I got a text from him that was pretty direct. "Sophie, I really don't get why you're dragging your feet on this. You're still not seeing the bigger picture. If you loved me, you'd do it right." I stared at my phone for a while, fighting the urge to snap back. When I called him later, he didn't even greet me properly. "I can't believe you're still not fully committing to this," he said immediately, as if we hadn't just talked about it. "You've got to do more than just bleach. It's permanent removal. Sophie, why is this so hard for you?" I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Liam, we talked about this. I said I'd bleach my forearms. That's enough. You can't keep pushing me." He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "No, Sophie, that's not enough. It's just a temporary fix, and honestly, I'm starting to feel like you're not even trying. If you really loved me, you'd do this for me. You said you'd compromise, but clearly, you're not willing to go far enough." I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach. "I am trying," I said, my voice shaking slightly. "I agreed to bleach my forearms. That's compromise. But this whole laser thing is too much. I'm not comfortable with it." "Well, if you're not willing to go all the way, then I'm starting to think maybe you're just not committed enough to us. Is that it, Sophie?" His voice shifted, almost accusing. "Because this seems like a pretty basic thing. If you can't even handle this, what does that say about our future?" I paused, the words hitting me like a ton of bricks. "So now this is a test of my commitment?" I asked, trying to hold back the anger bubbling up. "Liam, this is about body autonomy. You're asking me to change something about myself that wasn't even a problem for either of us until now. You're missing the point," he snapped, irritation thick in his voice. "It's not about your body, it's about us, and you not being willing to do something that would make me happy. It's about sacrifice for the person you're supposed to love." I felt like I was losing control of the conversation. Everything I said seemed to come back to guilt and blame. He was twisting this into a reflection of my love for him, and I hated it. "You know," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "I agreed to bleach my forearms, but you're still pushing me for more. You keep saying you want me to be happy, but this doesn't make me happy. I feel like I'm being manipulated into changing myself for you, and I don't think that's okay." Liam's response was immediate and sharp. "I'm not manipulating you. I'm just asking for something that matters to me. If you loved me, you'd understand that." It stung. I tried to remind myself that I wasn't being unreasonable. I hadn't asked him to change anything about himself. Why was I expected to change something so personal, just to appease his standards? I sat there, my mind racing. His attitude was suffocating. It wasn't about body hair anymore, it was about control. And I was tired of feeling like I was being pressured into something I didn't want to do. I didn't say much after that. I just told him I'd think about it, but honestly, I knew deep down this wasn't something I could just think about anymore. This wasn't a relationship based on respect, it was about him dictating what I should do to be worthy of him. That night, I laid in bed, replaying the conversation in my head. His words echoed in my mind, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized something wasn't right. I felt emotionally drained, completely worn out. I shouldn't feel exhausted by my relationship. I shouldn't feel like I'm walking on eggshells, constantly wondering when the next demand would come. The doubts kept creeping in. Was I in a healthy relationship? Was this even love? Or was I just in a situation where someone was trying to change me to fit their image of perfection? And why did I feel so guilty for just wanting to be myself? It wasn't long after the conversation about bleaching my forearms that Liam dropped the bombshell. We were having dinner at my place, me, trying to keep the mood light, and him, barely touching his food. I could tell something was coming. He'd been distant all night, his usual upbeat self replaced by a tension I couldn't ignore. Finally, after a long pause, he looked at me, his face completely serious. "I need to talk to you about something important." "Sure, what's up?" I asked, trying to sound calm, but already feeling a little anxious. "I've been thinking," he began, slowly, "about all of this. The hair. And how you're still not really listening to me." I shifted in my seat, my heart starting to race. "Liam, I'm listening. But you can't expect me to change something that's my choice. You can't keep pressuring me." He looked at me like I'd just said something outrageous. "I am pressuring you because I need you to understand how serious this is. This is about me, Sophie. You say you love me, but if you truly did, you'd do this for me." The way he said it made me feel small, like I wasn't doing enough, like I wasn't trying hard enough to make him happy. I could feel my pulse quickening. "Liam, I am trying. I've already compromised. I said I'd bleach my forearms. What else do you want from me?" He shook his head, clearly frustrated. "You're not getting it, Sophie. If you really loved me, you would want to do this for me. It's not just about the hair, it's about you sacrificing something for me. That's what love is: compromise, understanding, and giving. And I've been more than patient with you on this. I stared at him, my mouth suddenly dry. I had been patient too. I'd tried to be the understanding girlfriend. But now, it was starting to feel like I was being asked to sacrifice pieces of myself just to keep him happy. And that didn't feel fair. This isn't a sacrifice, Liam. This is about you controlling what I do with my body. And it's not healthy, I said, my voice shaking a little, but still firm. See, that's the problem, he snapped. You don't get it. It's not about control. It's about showing that you care enough to make a small change. And if you can't do that, how are we supposed to build a future together? What happens when we face bigger challenges? If you can't even do this for me, then I'm starting to wonder if you're really committed to this relationship at all. I felt my chest tighten. Are you saying this is a deal breaker? I asked, barely above a whisper. He didn't hesitate. Yes, this is a deal breaker. I'm not asking for much, Sophie. I just want you to show me that you care about my happiness as much as I care about yours. If you can't do that, what's the point? I've been so patient, and if you're not willing to do this one thing for me, it tells me that you're not as serious as I am. I sat back, the weight of his words crashing down on me. A deal breaker. He was giving me an ultimatum. Either I lasered my body the way he wanted, or he'd leave. Just like that. I felt suffocated, like I couldn't breathe. He wasn't giving me a choice. It wasn't just about the hair anymore, it was about control. His control. And I started to see the relationship in a completely different light. This wasn't just a disagreement about body hair. It was about his attitude toward me and my autonomy. I wasn't just being asked to compromise, I was being forced to change myself to fit his idea of what I should be. As the silence stretched between us, I could feel my chest tighten with frustration. This wasn't love. Love didn't come with demands and ultimatums. Love didn't come with this kind of pressure. I had been willing to meet him halfway, but this wasn't halfway. This was him telling me I wasn't good enough as I was. I felt my stomach churn with the realization that he didn't respect me or my boundaries. And the thought hit me, if I gave in now, I would be giving him permission to keep pushing for more. I stared at my plate, trying to collect my thoughts. I can't do this, Liam, I said, my voice quiet but firm. I'm not going to change my body for you. I don't care how much you say you love me. This is too much. It's not healthy, and it's not fair. He sat back, eyes wide, as if he couldn't believe what I was saying. So that's it? He asked, almost in disbelief. You're willing to throw all of this away over something so small? I nodded slowly, feeling tears welling in my eyes. Yes, Liam, I'm willing to walk away from this, because it's not small, it's about who I am, and if you can't accept me as I am, then maybe this isn't meant to be. After Liam's ultimatum, I couldn't stop thinking about what he'd said. It was like a weight on my chest that wouldn't lift. I kept replaying his words over and over in my head. If you can't even do this for me, then I'm starting to wonder if you're really committed to this relationship at all. I wasn't sure if he was just being dramatic or if he actually believed it. Either way, I was exhausted. This wasn't a simple issue anymore, it was a test of who I was, what I was willing to sacrifice for him, and whether or not I would let him dictate my choices. I couldn't process everything alone, so I called my brother Jack. He was the one person who always listened without judgment, and right now, I needed that more than anything. Hey, Jack, I said when he picked up. Can you talk? I need to vent. Of course. What's going on? He asked, his voice calm but concerned. I took a deep breath. It's Liam. He's pushing me to get laser hair removal, and it's like he's turned it into this requirement. He's even saying if I don't do it, I'm not committed to him. It's just about hair, but it feels like everything else is riding on this. Jack was quiet for a moment, processing my words. Wait, hold on. He's giving you an ultimatum about your body? That's crazy. I let out a frustrated sigh. Yeah, I know. But I've already agreed to bleach my forearms, and that wasn't enough for him. Now he wants me to do the whole laser thing. He says he'll leave me if I don't. Are you serious? Jack's tone shifted, a little more forceful. Sophie, you're letting him pressure you into changing something about yourself that you're not comfortable with. That's not love, that's control. I felt the lump in my throat tighten. I know, but I love him. I don't know anymore. I don't want to lose him, but at the same time, I feel like I'm being manipulated into doing things I don't want to do. I'm starting to question everything about this relationship. Look, Soph, Jack said, his voice soft but firm, if he really loves you, he wouldn't make you feel like you have to sacrifice your happiness, your autonomy, for him to stay. That's not how love works. It shouldn't feel like a burden. Relationships should make you feel better, not like you're losing yourself. I swallowed hard, his words hitting me like a wake-up call. But, it's just hair, right? I'm overthinking it, aren't I? It's not that big of a deal, is it? I asked, trying to convince myself that maybe I was just being too sensitive. It's not just about hair, Sophie. It's about him telling you that who you are isn't good enough. You're compromising on something small now, but what's next? You're already second-guessing yourself. That's not how it should feel. You shouldn't be in a relationship where you're constantly worried about changing yourself to meet someone else's standards. I sat silently, letting his words sink in. He was right. Every time Liam pushed me to change something about myself, I felt a little less like me. Jack continued, I get that you're trying to make it work, but you have to prioritize yourself too. You have to think about your own happiness. You shouldn't have to question if you're doing enough or if you're good enough just to keep someone around. I nodded, though I wasn't sure he could hear me over the phone. I know. It's just hard. I'm scared that if I walk away, I'll regret it, but I'm also scared of staying in a relationship where I feel like I'm losing who I am. Jack's voice softened. Sophie, I know it's scary, but I want you to ask yourself this: if you keep compromising on things that matter to you, how are you ever going to feel happy with him? And if you're already feeling this drained, is it really worth it? You've got to choose you now. It's not selfish. It's self-care. Tears welled up in my eyes as I let his words settle in. I hadn't realized just how much pressure I'd been putting on myself to make Liam happy, even if it meant sacrificing my own peace of mind. Thanks, Jack, I whispered, wiping my eyes. You're right. I've been so focused on making it work that I haven't been thinking about what's actually right for me. You deserve better than this, Jack said gently. You deserve to be with someone who loves you as you are, not someone who wants to change you into something else. You need to be with someone who accepts you, body hair and all. I sat there in silence, feeling the weight lifting off my shoulders just by having this conversation. I knew what I had to do now. It wasn't about compromising anymore. It was about standing up for myself and walking away from something that didn't make me feel valued. Thanks, Jack. I think I know what I need to do. Good. I'm proud of you, Sophie, and I've got your back, okay? Whatever you decide, you're not alone in this. I'm going to break up with him, I said, my voice steady now. It felt like the right decision, finally. I need to do this for me. I spent the next few hours in a haze, bouncing between packing and thinking about what I was going to say to Liam. Every part of me wanted to scream at him, tell him how unfair he was being, but I knew I couldn't do that, not yet. Not until I was physically out of the apartment. My brothers, Jack and Ben, were already on board to help me move. Jack had come by earlier in the day to help me with some packing, and Ben was bringing his van to do the heavy lifting. But I wasn't going to let Liam know anything about it until I was safely out of there. I didn't know exactly how to say goodbye to him. We'd had so many conversations about our future, about dreams, about building a life together. But it had all come crashing down with his demands, and now, here I was, planning to leave him in the middle of the night. As I stood in my living room, glancing at the empty boxes and piles of clothes, I could feel the tension tightening in my chest. It wasn't just the physical act of moving, it was the emotional weight that had been building for weeks now. Liam had made me feel like I wasn't good enough, like my body wasn't something to be accepted as is. He was trying to force me into a mold that didn't fit, and now I was finally taking the steps to get out. I glanced at my phone and saw the last message Liam had sent me. I found a clinic. We need to book the appointment for you soon. I'm waiting for you to decide. You're really going to make me wait this long? I let out a shaky breath and quickly typed out a response. I wanted to keep it neutral, calm. I didn't want him suspecting anything. I'm sorry for taking so long, Liam. I've made the appointment for tomorrow. I'll let you know how it goes after the session. I'm going to need some time to rest though, so I won't be able to meet up for a while. Can we still have dinner together on Friday? I'll order takeout from your favorite place. I sent the message and immediately felt a sickening sense of guilt. It wasn't a lie. I was going to the laser clinic tomorrow, just not for the reasons he thought. But I wasn't going to let him know that yet. I had to keep up the charade until I was completely out. The plan for Friday night was a cover. I was going to let him think everything was fine, that I was going along with his demands. But in reality, my brothers and I were going to be moving the last of my stuff out of the apartment. He'd be none the wiser. I'd keep him distracted with the date and the promise of dinner, while I disappeared from his life for good. By the time I finished texting him, I could feel my hands shaking. My heart was pounding in my chest as I looked around the small studio apartment that had been my home for the past year. It was hard to imagine it all as just memories now, but I knew I couldn't stay here any longer. I was suffocating in this place, and in this relationship. I heard a knock at the door. It was Jack. He had a big smile on his face, ready to help. Ready to get this done? He asked, holding up a couple of large boxes. I nodded, forcing a smile. Yeah, let's do this. Ben arrived about an hour later with the van. He looked at me, his expression unreadable but supportive.